space, but that's where the projector is, so that's why we're here. My name is Joanne Butcher, many of you know me, and this is our monthly meetup, where we talk about various film-related fun topics. And this evening I wanted to, I really wanted to talk about YouTube. I had the absolute pleasure of working for YouTube for a while. I was brought in as this is a very interesting thing with Google. Like, I have a really good friend who's Brazilian. She teaches dance, but now she's working for Google Maps. And it's, she's putting in all this information about Brazil on maps. And so there's all this work to be done at Google that's about being culturally accurate. So I was first brought in as the English voice of the UK movie channel. So they were renting movies. People still today have no idea that you can rent movies on YouTube. I rent movies on YouTube all the time. Did you look it up after I mentioned it to you? And you can rent everything on YouTube, but they unfortunately they decided not to pursue that line of business, and it's extraordinary the amount of engineering back end that had to happen, you know, for that. So I was brought in as sort of, you know, there was an American who was the curator, and then I was doing translation. And that's, well, maybe it doesn't sound funny to you, but there are different words and different ways of expressing things in England than in America. So I was doing that, and then eventually I kept getting promoted, and I eventually took over running a channel. And you know, the engineering team and everybody was in England, and I'm a very early morning riser, so it was very easy for me to be getting up and having 6 a.m., 7 a.m. meetings. And I think one of the big takeaways that I took from working at YouTube was that I love Google Docs. I already loved Google Docs before I was working with them, but we would work with documents that had you know, 175 pages, and that would just be for one country, you know, and it was all the movies that were coming out, all the dates that they came out, all the, I can't, it's just information on and on and on and on and on, and at Google and YouTube, everything is on a Google Doc, you know, and so anytime now, you know, I always love Google Docs, but other people would say, oh, I can't use Google Docs, or it's not good enough. I think, that's fine. And my job was to create what they did, and now YouTube has taken it all away, so it doesn't exist anymore. But if you look at a movie on Amazon, they're starting to do this kind of curatorial content on Amazon. So what they had us do was, you know, it wasn't so much, it wasn't only the new releases, it was also just as they added to the library. So you would see a movie and, well, what's the young people, the movies with the vampire and the werewolves and... Twilight series. I never thought that I would watch a Twilight movie, particularly, but they brought them all into the library, and so the kind of work I would do would be to research, you know, an interview with the director, and an interview with the actors, and different things like that, put them all on the page where you rented the movie. And so basically I got to sit in bed in my pajamas and research movies and watch movies all day, and it was just, it's my absolute favorite job ever had. And I learned to, I'm a huge Twilight fan as a result of that. You know, I'm a huge fan because the actors were very, very cool, you know. So, and I of course do other things, but so I'm going to talk later more about YouTube, but I first want to introduce Renny and Boston. They are filmmakers, and they'll talk a little bit about their work, hopefully in general, and then what they're doing with YouTube. So, big warm welcome for Renny and Boston.
You do have an issue, let me know.
Alright. So, should be okay, so please wait. Yeah, so Freakin Rad.
This is us.
Which let's find out. So as far as like YouTube, how many of you have a YouTube channel that you're updating, or have maybe 1 or 2 videos on? A couple people, okay. How many people consider themselves a filmmaker through and through, and so they're more of a Vimeo type of a watcher? Okay, I mean they're completely different mediums at this point. But how many gamers out there? Okay, so good to know.
Can we ask what type of YouTube channel you guys have? Anybody want to volunteer?
TV show.
Like, do you
Personal channel with just one video that's not listed.
right on? Cool. Cool. Anybody else?
Comedy Skits.
Nice. That you wrote, right?
Yes.
Are you're the writer?
Wrote the shop, right?
Nice.
But I had one back in 2008 that was actually growing when YouTube was kind of really growing.
Yeah.
2008 was the year.
That's kind of, wasn't it? It was like 53rd most subscribed at the time. And then took that down, but it kept me work from there. And now I'm trying to come back.
Great.
What do you guys do?
Great.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, yeah. So we just want to talk today about kind of who we are, and then like what we're kind of doing in terms of our film outreach and doing stuff specifically for YouTube. So I'm Boston, McConnaughey, and I'm a director, also a producer. If I could just be a director, I'd probably do that. But as an independent artist, you're kind of a pro-director at all times. So yeah, my website's actually, if you just go to bostons.org, that's my website. But anyway, yeah, so this is my wife, Renny.
My name is Renny. I'm an actress and a producer. I usually end up producing what I act in because I'm that desperate. So, yes, she got it. Awesome.
That's not desperate.
That's professional. Yeah. Anyway, you can see the movies that I've been on IMDb if you're curious. So.
And so, yeah, so we're going to tell kind of our story. So we came with this idea, or at one point I was saying, like, if I directed a movie and I wanted it to be playing on the screen, like, you have to have a name for your production company, right? And I was like, well, I should make my production company some kind of superlative, some kind of adjective type of phrase. That way when it comes up, it says, blank film. And so we're like, let's call it, I want to see the title, this is my dream, right? To have a big film playing a premiere at a festival or, you know, wherever, and it just says, Freakin Rad film. Just to explain, you guys are about to sit for things like that. So that's what came with the name, which really worked well for a YouTube type of audience. But it kind of took a while to get to a point where, to a point where we could kind of break even on YouTube. A lot of investment, a lot of time. And we actually started our channel and had a really weird like glitch in the matrix, is what we called it. But kind of seemed like 4 or 5 people we were making kind of crossover videos where it was kind of some extreme sport and like some really nerd culture thing, like it was Star Wars motocross or like Star Wars ski battle, like that type of stuff. We were just trying to capitalize on exciting like existing entities that had star power and then combine them together. And so we're doing really well, but we had like gotten the channel Freakin Rad and owned by somebody else previously, and they had had like some kind of copyright strike. And so after like 2 months straight of like working on our channel got shut down within like 3 weeks, which is really weird. I like ended up finding a fax number for the people at YouTube and like faxing in our copyright information, and we got the channel back. But it kind of like put a wrench in the gears with the team, and at that point, a couple of them like went off to do other things. In fact, do a completely different channel that now has like subscribers, etc. But what was really interesting is I felt like time and time again I wanted to tell really compelling, really powerful stories, and I would invest all this time and energy and say like, this is it, this is going to do so well, and then I would just push it out on YouTube and get like no response. And like, I think that's like a really common thing. People go out there and like, you know, all right, I think I have a great viral idea, or I think I have something that's going to make total success, and then they're like, all right, great, I'm gonna go spend, you know, $3,000 bucks. I'm gonna go like, you know, get my friends to come together. We're all gonna like, you know, like they're gonna invest some time and energy and money and weeks of editing or whatever it is, and they put it out online, and next thing you know, it does nothing. And it's like so, it's heartbreaking, it's demoralizing, and it even happens. Like for the people that I've worked with, it even happens with people who have huge subscriber bases. You know, they might be shooting for higher goals, but it happens all the way along the line, and you kind of have to get used to a little bit of, you know, the internet is CF. It's just hard to sometimes break through the white noise, right? And so basically our story is one of, we tried, we failed so many times that eventually we decided that we should just fail with more people and maybe we'll fail less. So we got a team together, another channel that had a similar story to us, and we combined forces and started basically our new Freakin Rad. And the first video we did was we decided to take capitalizing on the success of some other archetype videos we made. We made this one video called Halo versus Destiny, which I don't know if you've seen it, but we'll play it really quickly and kind of get the idea for what we have going on.
First of all, we're genetically engineered super soldiers. Great, but fallen, like the government, only easier to go.
Look, we're cool. We travel groups of 3 and they're loincloths. I'm just stuck right there. Honey, I thought you two broke up.
Jokes that make sense if you played both of these video games. There's 2 video games in there if you don't know. So one is Halo, the other is a video game called Destiny. And a lot of the gaming community feels like there are a lot of overlap. Halo, they're essentially made by the same company. And then there's like people who have their opinions on which is better, or which is just a knockoff of the original idea, or you know, all these kinds of things. Or anything that you can do in one game, you can do in the other, and they're kind of competing for gameplay. So inherently there's a discussion online about these 2 games. We both, you know, as a group, we've all played the games, so this could be a cool video to do, and you kind of make fun of different characters that go on.
Something that I think is important to talk about too is before we actually, I call it, we like relaunched and rebranded our channel. We actually left the channel alone for 2 years. Like we didn't touch it for 2 years, which is a really long time in the YouTube world because things go viral like that and then they're dead, right? But we had one video that we had made, and well over the 2 years, which actually got us an invite to like a YouTubers conference. And we were like, show up at this YouTubers conference. We're like, we don't really know what we're doing here. But we actually had like fans. They were small, you know, and they were like small in number, which is sort of what gave us the impetus to really Boston met a couple of people who were really interested in our channel and we're trying to do the same thing and we're even smaller than we were and then we joined forces. So I just want to bring that a little bit of context. And this was the first piece that we did together as our rebranded channel.
Yeah. And unlike our lack of success before, this video did see, I think it's like 1.5 million views or something like that, which is like in any way, shape, or form, like when you think about it, that's doing really well for a YouTube audience, like very well.
It was promoted by some pretty big like gamer blogs.
Yeah, so we want to get into like maybe like the lessons that we think we kind of like learned from this experience. I wasn't presenting the jumped out. Let's see.
Is the channel still called Freakin Rad?
The channel is still called Freakin Rad, so that's let's see. Yeah, so really quickly, like we want to talk about like kind of what we do and like what our passions are. So Freakin Rad, for one, has a very specific audience at this point. We're kind of targeting people who like sci-fi, action, adventure, and specifically video games. And that's putting us in certain categories in terms of what content our subscribers are coming for. Now, when we started our channel, obviously we started with 0 subscribers. When we rebranded, we had about 20,000 subscribers. Now we just passed 45,000 subscribers in the last, which the bulk of that we made in the last 6 months. And it's not a huge number, but it's right at a point where YouTube can become like financially lucrative, like where you can, because really when it comes down to it, people want to see, they want to see proven success in order to invest in anything, right? Like that's just a standard business practice. But with YouTube, specifically if you want to work with a company, if you want to get sponsorship, or if you want to collaborate with other big YouTubers to grow your channel, you need to kind of have a proven track record of success. And so outside of YouTube, like in that 2 years that we weren't working, we were producing all kinds of documentary, commercials, short films, different things, doing a lot of commercial competitions, and that kind of was paying the bills for a while. When we jumped back into YouTube, it really came down to, sure, I made other spots for other companies that were really cool, or I worked, day jobs like making films, but I felt like I wasn't able to make what I wanted to make. Does anybody ever feel like they get to that position? I'm not making what I want to make. And if I'm being 100% honest, like, as much as I love the Halo vs. Destiny, like, and what kind of it was, that's not the film like I would want to really make. But it's getting me down that path. And so we want to talk about like kind of the value of YouTube and why we're doing what we're doing. Because it's different for different people. Some people might be completely content to just, parody the next Disney song that comes out. Or do something like that, build upon existing properties and sort of kind of iterate their own magic and do it on YouTube. But for us, we've hit a certain category on YouTube. So
Yeah, so we feel there's a lot of value in YouTube. First of all, in just getting seen. It's a free platform. Like you can put anything up there. Anyone can put anything up there, which is why it's so hard to get through the white noise, right? I do feel like there's kind of 2 different approaches to YouTube. Some people will post every single day and it's not very high quality, but they get tons of subscribers because of that. We have chosen to do more high quality work, but we post less often and then we have a huge marketing push behind it in terms of like effort and stuff like that.
yeah, those are the 2 models. YouTube's algorithms right now tend to favor consistent and regular content a little bit. But in terms of outreach and growth, I honestly think it's harder. I think there's a lot more competition to try to post something every day and be successful. Curated one, but that also goes with more of our values too of what we want to be doing, and we want to create a environment.
We're trying to get out a video about every month. We've been growing over 10,000 subscribers with almost every video. So it's general. Those are the general like, I auditioned for some films that I thought that I was really, really great for. They were local producers that I knew, and they went in a different direction because so-and-so had a Twitter following in Thailand. So these things are really important right now. If you have an audience, you are perceived as valuable. If you have people that are coming to watch your channel because of what you produce, or whether it's Instagram or Twitter or whatever, you're valuable. And YouTube is a very specific way to portray my portfolio in a way. Like Boston's being able to show off his different writing skills and his different directing skills. I'm able to show off that, you know, I've done some action, I've done some comedy, I've done some, in another video in this one, you know, some rock climbing. So these are sport, ice climbing rather. This is just sort of a way to be like, hey, look at my work and see how it's received, because it's getting some really good feedback, you know, in general. There's always a couple trolls here and there.
Yeah, so there's a couple, this is basically what we've been trying to do. It's not just about having high view counts. You can get high view counts, and that's great. It's about having high view counts consistently with high quality content. Now that's like not necessarily an easy thing to do, and it's honestly very time consuming. I have a full-time job, you know, making videos already, and so this is like my nights and weekends that we've been trying to develop independent content. But ultimately, what that has led to is brand sponsorship. We set out originally saying basically what we want to go after, and the market we want to go after is brand collaborations and creating native advertisements. Ultimately, like I want to direct action and I want to direct science fiction. Those are the two things that really interest me. And so I'm basically trying to find existing properties that will do well online, and then kind of create a portfolio somewhat on spec. And that's what we did this year, and now we're landing deals with companies that say, we've seen what you've done, we see these consistent view counts, but we also see that there's a level of quality which is higher than a lot of the other people on YouTube. And I'm not going to say we're like the best thing on YouTube, even if you are, with me. But at the same time, brands want to work with people they can trust. And they can trust two things: high quality that they can see, and view counts that are calculated by Google.
Are these videos that you're actually posting at your site, or you're hosting elsewhere on YouTube?
So yes,
that's a really good question.
Okay, so this is so we're right now we have like probably our biggest deal that we're doing right now is with a company called Machine Zone. And they're here in the Bay actually, but they have a game called Gold Strike, a game called
Don't Google them because you will get advertisements forever on your phone and on your computer.
Yeah, but they have a number of games that are mobile based, and when we came to them, we said, hey, we want to make a native advertisement, for you, and we'll post it on our YouTube channel, but it can be about your brands. Oh yeah, so this is great. We're jumping. So native advertisement is kind of a relatively new term, but it's the idea of when you hear somebody say working with influencers or working with, working with a YouTube channel or working with an Instagram or something like that, right? They'll basically say, we want you to create something that doesn't quite feel like, the Mentos commercial. Like like they don't want to create an advertisement that's direct to market.
People don't want to be marketed to blatantly anymore. They want something very original that feels like just somebody in their life is using. In this case, this was a video we did for a skateboarding company called J Sports. We basically have Captain America and Iron Man skateboarding and dueling.
Yeah, and that what's interesting is so for us, we had all these kind of extreme sports crossover videos, and so like an extreme sport company, a lawnmower manufacturer said, hey, we'd love to work with you. You guys have like Freakin Rad stuff. I'm like, that's so funny. But they said, we want to work with you. What can we do? And of course, Civil War was coming out, and so Captain America Civil War. And so we said, well, why don't we make Captain America Civil Boards? And like that, even does that sound like a great like title for YouTube? We're gonna get to that later because it did terribly as a title. We had to change our title, which again is what we're gonna build upon. But basically, we said, okay, well, what can we do that would still feel like our audience is just subscribing to Freakin Rad content, has nothing to do with the brand. And so that's what a native advertisement should aim to do, is just feel like, you know, I'm sitting and I'm watching something, and at the end it's brought to you by this company or was sponsored by this company, and then the connection is made. Wow. And I ultimately heard it pitched one time this way, where we don't want to like be told, you know, Coca-Cola makes everything better. We just want Coca-Cola to give us a cool experience, and the next time we see a logo, we go, man, Coca-Cola, they're so cool. They just make it happiness, you know? So that's the idea, but brands are really looking for this. They're looking to give someone an experience and associate their brand with positivity. And so then when they do have those hard, fast, you know, selling ads, people say, yeah, these guys are cool. They want to be perceived as, you know, as a positive and, you know, force in the world. So, like I was saying, with this one Machine Zone deal that we're working on, originally they came to us, we said, let's do a native ad. And then basically the idea shifted to, let's do a commercial for our company. We kind of had to like explain to them, if this is going to live on our channel, it has to abide by, like the YouTube gods have to be pleased. Like we have to like give it certain things and do it in certain parameters, otherwise we get a lot of hate. And so once we kind of understood that and marked that balance, so that's where we're making our money, and we're just gonna like break down essentially our strategy, which is working fairly well for us right now. But it's a strategy that I like to call the clickable, watchable, shareable YouTube format. Like I said before, I'm a filmmaker, like through and through. I have like my own movies that I want to make and things that I want to say. But before I feel like I can say them like to a massive audience, I have to find that massive audience that wants to invest in me. Now, that's a big difference. Like if you just want to go out and say, I'm gonna go out and tell somebody a message, that's great. If they have no investment in you, they're not gonna listen. But how can you get them to have investment in you? And the way to do it on YouTube is to create something that's clickable and shoot. And repeat that process. Clickable literally comes down to titles and thumbnails. There's those two things. And you can make it as cheap and as terrible as you want, and most successful people on YouTube do, although there are some caveats to it. But you essentially need your content to be able to be boiled down into a thumbnail image and a title that people will want to click on. Right?
So something we did here is I pulled from our Facebook page. We're picked up and featured by different gamer blogs. Again, with this different, we did an Uncharted video. If anybody's familiar with the Uncharted video game brand, we did a video which was one shot with a drone, and it resonated really, really well with audiences because it was very true to how the game feels, and that's really unusual. People can put a spin on a gameplay or make it live action, but if it doesn't ring true, they'll be like, oh, that was okay. But we got really, really good feedback because of how native it felt. Now, this wasn't actually like a native ad, but we could have approached brands and been like, we didn't quite have the time in this one, but we could have approached brands and been like, hey, you want to sponsor the gun or something like that? You know, and created something that had nothing to do, no commercial aspect to it, except for the fact that it was.
Yeah, and we had a couple sponsors on this one, but they were more collaborative in donating space kind of energy things to the project. But for example, so this was originally called Uncharted 4 in real life, and that's for Uncharted 4 IRL. That's what we originally titled it out to. And it's performing okay, but we decided to tweak it and try some different ad things. I think the ending title ended up being Uncharted 4 gameplay in real life. And the idea there was that because of the way it was shot, people will watch this and who are familiar with the game, and they'll be able to see what it would really look like to have this game be in real life. So, what the thumbnail that we used, which actually, it's not, that's okay. But the thumbnail we used was pretty much a shot of this main character with an explosive gun, right? We photoshopped it. But honestly, when you have a compelling thumbnail, it gets people wanting to watch it. But if you just put any old thumbnail, first of all, YouTube algorithms have changed recently to where they won't reward you if people click away instantly. Your thumbnail has to be related to your content and enough so that when people watch it, it feels the same. So with every shoot that we do a thumbnail photo shoot, which is fairly important. And that's something to consider. Yes, you can grab stills from the video, or you can even consider when in the video you're going to grab a still. But from the get-go, we consider what our thumbnails are. This was a VR short that we did, and this is kind of a success story. This is the first film with some restraints to it, but it was the first film that was completely original content that also did well. It has around 120-something thousand views, but it was a VR short that we did, and it got picked up and it's been viewed a lot, and that's led to a lot more work as well. But when it comes down to the thumbnail, we wanted to, of course, we created something that hopefully was very clickable, and what was funny was we came up with this title we thought was great, How to Survive a Bear Attack, and in the end we got haters for it, a little bit, which you don't listen to them too much, but we ended up changing it to just, instead of How to Survive a Bear Attack, Survive a Bear Attack in VR. So you really have to find it, like, thumbnails are something you can obviously change, and titles you can change as you go along. But we found that pretty much we come up with the title, and then we have to iterate slightly to see, based on people's feedback, what we should actually call our movie, which seems like completely not intuitive. But that's the clickable part of the clickable watchable, shareable. Yeah.
So what do you attribute the success of? What factors?
What factors? Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So let's talk about watching. So watchability could mean a number of things. But we all watched that spot, which was Halo versus Destiny, right? And in that particular spot, we basically curated and created it with I like to call it the lizard brain mentality, where, you know, the lizard brain, like lizard, mouse, monkey, right? You want to stroke the lizard, you want to feed the mouse, and you want to hug the monkey. Right, but with YouTube, you need to just basically like go to the most basic human reaction you can. So literally, we timed it out. There is something interesting or different happening between every 3 and 8 seconds in the film. A new gun comes up, or a new explosion goes off, or a new line is delivered. You know, a new effect. And there's always something happening and reoccurring at that speed. That doesn't mean that has to happen for every viral YouTube video, but the overall what happens is you get what a YouTube curator at one point, I can't recall who, but probably 6 or 7 years ago I read this article where they said the best thing you could do is do something unexpected. So you walk somebody in, you say, here's what it is, here's the title, here's the thumbnail, they click on it, and they don't get quite what they expected. Something changes ever so slightly. And the more you can deliver on that iteration, the more you can kind of change an expectation, the more watch time you will get for that video. Again, the new YouTube algorithm is such that the more watch time you get, the more you get rewarded. That has to do with a lot of YouTube Red and things like that, but the longer your session time, the better your videos will do in the search results. So for that, that's essentially what we did. Our channel specifically, we wanted to focus on, we want to be doing sci-fi, we don't want to do action adventure, so we have a lot of visual effects heavy elements. That also does well on YouTube. It is things that are out of this world and explosive. But that's not a guarantee. You don't have to do that, but that is working for us.
I think with the bear videos specifically, people are crazy about the bear. And because it was done with the Nokia Oza, which is a new technology, and we work with a prototype, that was kind of like that was what was clickable.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fact that we've had it featured on a couple of the new virtual reality apps has been a really big deal for us too. So we were really, really lucky in that we won a pitch that we sent off to Nokia, and we're able to make this spot, and then we've really been able to work with some cool people because it's, you know, the Nokia and virtual reality, both of those things are really up and coming right now. So I think that was the key kind of the shareability of the this particular one. So
Where'd you get the bear?
we paid for a bear.
Wow.
This bear is famous, actually, and has a very high day rate. So
Higher than any area.
Yeah.
So that if you want to book this bear and you want to just film him in his backyard, you can spend $10,000.
that was his backyard. So
It's not Bart's son. is it?
yeah, it's
well,
the cousin.
it's just-
Yeah,
so-
like they're exactly.
Yeah, so the bear we use is Tank, and I believe it's not Bart 2, which is the son of Bart the bear, who was in the original Disney movie The Bear. But this is an adopted sibling. I guess, but
They
it's
call
It's
it-
just funny that you talk about all those other calling card things, but there is a bear.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think that he said it's unexpected. People like are so intrigued by the bear when it enters the video, and
Like, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
exactly. We did, and it was 8 degrees. So, and if anybody's wondering, he's like a big dog. He likes treats.
It's like a giant golden. It's a one-time golden retriever working with a bear. That's what it's
A
like.
lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'd be happy to obviously talk more about that experience. We have a video up on our behind the scenes channel, which is Behind the Rad. So you go to youtube.com/behindtherad's at the end of the slides. But that's where we talked about that experience with the bear and that as well. Just as a footnote, behind the scenes channel is super, super important if you're doing narrative content on YouTube. Because people want to invest in faces, they want to be invested in you. And the best way to do that is to show who you are while doing what you're doing. There's a lot of reasons you can go with that. But that comes to our last point, which is shareability, right? So is it clickable, is it watchable, is it shareable? Is it shareable? So we talked a little bit about the hook, having that thing that grabs somebody that says, oh, I want to share this. I heard an amazing TED Talk where a guy was talking about the fear of the purple cow, right? You're driving down the road, you see a cow on the road, you see a cow on the side of the road, you're not going to think for a second, oh, that's a cow, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter. But if you were driving down the road and you saw a purple cow, well, you're going to have to, like, you're going to want to get out and say, whoa, this is like a legitimately purple cow, I want to take a picture of it. And then, because what the cow allows you to do is show your friends what kind of humor you have or what kind of life you live. And so, what our videos do is try to really give somebody an opportunity to let people know how cool they are because they found this really cool video, right? So that's a way to think about it. But doing that, you know, we're capitalizing right now. We have, you know, superheroes and video game characters, you know, and bears and things that are kind of larger than life. But the idea, ultimately, if you boil it down to what it is existing properties, existing famous things, you know. And that's your hook, that's your star power, right? Beyond that, there isn't a single video that we have published that has done well that hasn't been picked up by huge influencers. So, if you create something with a hook, if you create something that is shareable, that has that power, you need to get that to the right people so that they can share it out. Your super fans are you. Like, on the last video we published, we sent out over 200 emails to different media outlets, and every video that we've had that's had any success was picked up by a Kotaku.com, which is a huge nerd game blogging website. You know, we've been featured on most gaming and whatever websites. The Halo video that we did was picked up both by Halo's main social media people that we've made personal contacts with, and Destiny's major social media platform. So it was featured on Destiny's main website on the front page. And so that right there is the reason that our videos did well, is that we had something interesting that people who had power and influence were willing to spread and wanting to spread.
And you reached out to them, or did they define you?
It comes both ways. We absolutely, after every video, spend the next 2, 3, 4 days reaching out and reaching out and reaching out. Not spamming, because that's very typical. You know, we've deliberately tried not to spam, but saying, hey, you know, we're this channel, we'd love to be featured on your blog, we read your blog, you know, or, you know, we know that you, and even if it's in passing or whatever, we made this we thought you might like, and particularly our team has gotten really, really creative. We got picked up. One of our guys, I think he went cuckoo, and he started writing in like Old English. And he was like, "We pray thee that thou might pick us up our, you know, and share our content with beautiful bounty with thine viewers." It was like really funny, and we got picked up from like a blog, and that was on, which one was that one on? Anyway, it was on one of our videos, but the whole point was, you gotta get somebody's attention.
We're kind of to the point where blogs respect our work enough that they say, whenever you have something new, please let us know, and we send it out to them. So that's kind of the goal, is that we have a working relationship with these different outlets.
Yeah, and so yeah, we talked about that. So kind of going forward.
We are building our audience and continuing to build our audience. So our goal is to become the star power ourselves. And actually, we are really building our YouTube channel so that we can enhance our feature film careers as well. So that's kind of what I want to transition into, is we're pitching a feature film right now, and we will be putting content on YouTube that will feed our audience little tidbits of what that feature film will be, so that we will already have an audience for that feature film, and that there will be a demand for that feature film when it gets made. And films take 1.5 years, 2 years, 3 years to make, so that gives us a lot of time to, every couple months, put a little short up, or put a little behind the scenes thing up, or we really want to experiment more with interactive media and VR stuff, and we can take whole little sidelines of our story and publish it on YouTube and kind of curate our audience, because our feature film will also be sci-fi, action, and comedy. So it's kind of the same genre, if that makes sense.
So yeah, so the last thing that I just might add to that is like Renny was saying, becoming the power yourself. Essentially means once you start publishing things, people are subscribed to you and they're keeping you on their radar. And it's not just how big that number is, it's out of that number, how many of those people are influencers themselves. Because I see it more like a network. I mean, they call it a social network, but really your strongest points have a network of their own. And so, like when you show, like we said at the beginning, when you show that you can have consistent quality, consistent like high view counts over a long period of time, then people just start to grow, and it starts to grow exponentially. And so then we feel that like there's a certain level of freedom to then pursue whatever story you truly want to tell. And as long as there's crossover, and the kind of my cautionary tale is I catch your name, but like at the beginning, I started a YouTube channel in 2006, and I grew very quickly. I had around 10,000 subscribers in a matter of like 3 months, and it was really cool, except that I was teaching people how to speak Japanese, which did nothing with what I wanted to do in my career.
You can't make that action.
Yeah, I couldn't make a sci-fi film and sell it to an audience that wants to learn how to speak Japanese. And so I literally just shut down that entire channel. It's silent, you can't find it. And of course, all my extended family's like, why can't we see your Japanese videos? It's like, well, I don't want people to Google Boston McConnaughey director, and then they're like, what the hell is this? Anyway, there are a couple videos out there that you can find on the internet of me speaking Japanese as a funny character, but for the most part, like we want to grow that star power, and you have to do it with something that's still true enough to you and what you want to do. But when you do that, like, honestly, you can make a career out of it, and you can make a career out of doing what you love. That's what we're gonna do.
I was just going to, it brings to a question that maybe you just answered it. Like when you look at all of the, you talk about the book, you look at things that already have a built-in audience kind of thing. But you have to do something that you said is important to you. Like, but they don't always match. For example, if someone is passionate about a vegetable or a genre, they're probably not going to take off on YouTube. But gaming, my gosh, if you put a good spin on gaming and this, it's a better risk.
Yeah, but you'd also be surprised by weirdo niches that are out there.
No, true.
So,
isn't one of the highest subscribed YouTubers a person who just reviews children's toys?
And so there is that, and like you can never see something on YouTube and say, I'm just going to do that, and like and chase after it, especially if it's very niche. And of course, let's reverse that and say that's exactly what we did.
I think it's better to go narrow and deep because the early YouTubers kind of had taken that like narrow and the broad and wide genre, and so people are looking for something really, really different to watch. And there are those YouTube viewers out there who are still looking for that really unique video that's so different that nobody's seen before.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's somebody. What's the girl who like who literally just like smashes her head into
Bread.
yeah, bread. Yeah, it's like the weirdest thing you've ever seen.
Very avant-garde.
Super viral.
Wow.
You know, so.
Just her one video, or
No, she has a series of videos where she buys different breads and smashes her face into
There
it.
you go.
On Instagram, there's a dude who sticks like like different things in his beard. And
Yeah,
it's
Willy
just, like,
Weird.
Yeah.
Willy.
Exactly.
Which is, it's actually a friend of
That's all his Instagram feed is, and it's
is
just.
him putting things in his beard and taking a really cool photograph of it.
Now, how many other folks do you think did that at the same time? He became that damn beard guy. Like, I mean, were there other people saying, I had beard stuff in my beard for years?
Part of that, yeah. Ultimately, right. Like what it comes down to is just beating that drum, and just like the war drum never stops. You have to keep doing it. We stopped for 2 years. If we had kept going and what we were doing, we would be bigger than we are now.
Yeah.
But we stopped, and now we're picking up. We just have to keep hitting that same
And you have
note.
a marketing team as well, or people who understand
We are
optimizing?
our own marketing team.
Yeah,
But
there's 5 of us now.
There's 5 of us. And they're actually back in Utah. So we go out to Utah about once a month or once every other month. And last time we were there, we made 2 videos at once just so that we could pump them out.
Yeah.
And they're really good at the graphics and actually very good at the marketing too. We've learned a lot from them. That being said, we started a new channel, which is really fun. It's more of a personal channel it's a vlog basically, and it's just for our own personal enjoyment. Actually, we started it maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, and so.
I have to say, like, okay, so the thing that, and if you are thinking about, yeah, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel and I'm gonna like make it, you can still make a career out of it. I think it's continuing to grow. I would give you 2 bits of advice. Look out for VR, for one, but also we have our YouTube channel, Freakin Rad, and there's a certain level of, gosh, I'm not able to like creatively do what I want to do, and so we started a vlog channel where we just kind of vlogged our adventures and some fun things, and we got like 10 subscribers, and the 10th subscriber was like my mom. Or no, but first of all, the first subscriber was my mentor. Like right out of college, I worked for this guy who made his documentary series. It was really fun. And he subscribed to my channel, and he has a YouTube channel, and he's like 5,000 subscribers, and he just does like interviews with artists. His stuff is just awesome. But he subscribed, and he was like 1 or 2, and like when that happened, I felt more rewarded that like he had subscribed to my personal channel than anything. So there was a huge value. It was like, yeah, sure, I have all these strangers who are watching my video game related content. But when like my best friend and then my mom with a 10th subscriber was subscribing to me, and I had that personal connection, there's still a reward in that. So even after all this, I would say there's still a place, and you don't have to chase numbers. You don't have to do that or let that be all you do. Obviously, it'd be great if we could just make money being ourselves on YouTube.
Some people are doing that.
You know, and our angle with this really is that our personal channel is going to be driven by our main gaming channel. When people get beyond the content and are subscribed, they want to see you, and they'll want to go to our channel. And so a small percentage of the numbers we're getting will say, well, who are the people making these videos? I want to know them. And so that's kind of part of the story there.
How do the numbers compare between the actual videos and the behind the scenes videos?
So on our Freakin Rad channel, so what I've seen consistently, if they're published at the same time, which we haven't always done, we get about 1/10. So if we have 100,000 views, we'll get about 10,000 trickle over. I think honestly, that generally comes down to thumbnail videos at the end of your video, if you're familiar with this. Pull one up at the very end, for example, of the Halo versus Destiny. So right here at the end, we threw some thumbnails, right? And we were behind the scenes, and when you're on a desktop computer only, although I have heard rumors that YouTube wants to do away with these and just let cards.
Say that again?
I've heard rumors that YouTube wants to do away with the annotations, is what they're called. So you can click literally on the screen and it will take you to this video or to this video. And generally people going through, they want to, if they're watching a certain video and they've stayed till the end, they want more of that content, so you can capitalize on that. And usually about 1 in 10 people click through to one or the other. So, yeah.
I think another point I just want to say, like in closing, and if you guys have questions, please, feel free to ask or email or whatever. But we're just like, we are constantly making videos. We are constantly filmmaking. And to the point where like, I have been resisting learning how to edit for like 8 years, and I'm learning how to edit. Like, so, it's just kind of, we love what we do and we do what we love, type of thing. So, yeah.
Hi, I have a 3-part question.
Okay.
First of all, how do you guys fund the first big start off videos? Because they really high quality. Secondly, I understand you're getting into making feature films and you're building the audience and following and demand as you go along. And you're capitalizing on a lot of brand value. But if I were to ask you, how would you, so watchability, you mentioned like something interesting at 3 to 8 seconds. How would you apply that to say narrative filmmaking that wants to go and build an audience on YouTube? Or is that something one should consider in terms of, is this even my audience? And the third one was if you had any pointers on what makes a successful thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yes, those are great questions. So,
the first one, platelets. You can donate platelets to raise money. You can do all kinds of things. You can bleed for money.
A lot of our early videos were self-funded, and this one, particularly Halo versus Destiny, if we were to estimate like a production value of in-kind donation and time that people gave to us, we've like kind of loosely run the numbers, and we could say it's worth like around $100,000. We spent $600 on it. We have a really large network back home. We have a lot of we have a lot of cosplayer friends who get very enthusiastic and just want to like show up wherever there's a camera, and we totally utilize that, and they love it. A lot of them are part of charities where they do that anyway, and they want screen time. So
that's not to say like my absolute detestment is YouTubers using people.
yes, that's very different than
I was with a number of like pretty much like my college dorm room, and then our circle of friends. Two of my friends and I, we consider ourselves the losers of the group because everybody went off and they started these multi-million subscriber, multi-million-dollar YouTube channels and things like that. But at the same time, one of the guys that I worked with, which I'm going to remain nameless, but like just burned friend after friend after friend, using them, not paying them, using them, not paying them, and then taking and it maybe came from this nervousness that they didn't think what they were doing would last, but it hurt so many relationships and got them a terrible reputation because they didn't want to pay people. So when you can pay people,
yeah.
And we do. If we have a brand deal, everybody is paid.
We also do a lot of trade work. So we've collaborated quite a bit with other channels, and that's a great way to build your channel. Actually, is collaborating with other channels and giving them a shout out or getting them to spread your video that they participated in on their channel.
Have you guys ever worked with equity? Offering equity to people who love you with you?
That's okay, like ad share, for example, ad revenue. I would just advise not to ever offer it because it's the least consistent format. It's essentially what I would just call passive income that YouTube can give you. We make a few $100s a month off of ad revenue, but it's not something that I could ever have promised somebody. Oh, I'm going to go in and calculate this. Like you might be able to say, hey, if this video makes money, we can give you something, but that's never a safe bet for anyone, and it's not a good thing to promise, in my opinion. Even if you're a huge channel and you're making thousands, like I would just give somebody a day raise. Be like, hey, if this hits 500,000 views, I could probably estimate that I could pay you your day rate, like maybe. But yeah, so I would say, so as far as equity, in terms of what YouTube will pay you in ad rev, and that's not something I would ever want to promise.
But with our native ads, we usually have a budget up front that we break down and present to the company and pay our, we have the 5 of us that are kind of, I don't know, the shareholders in the company or whatever, and then everybody else we hire out. And unless there's another agreement somewhere down the line, we will cross that bridge when we come to it.
You were saying,
I was wondering how some of this advice would tie into narrative filmmaking, wanting to build an audience on YouTube, because I'm wondering if the 3 to 8 minute the watchability factor would apply to narrative filmmaking, or would there be something else?
this I would say, YouTube and the culture has defined what it likes. Okay? So the best thing you can do is go out and find what does well, and then say, how can what I want to make fit into this mold? And this is like my personal experience. I tried to make what I wanted to make and get people to watch it. And I quickly learned that that doesn't work on YouTube. YouTube, like I think actually more of a Vimeo type of place, if you can make something that's high quality, that's beautifully, and you can get still the same amount of picking up by the right, like staff picks or whatever, for whatever it is, if you can get noticed that way, you can still do very well. We had one Vimeo video that we had made on our sabbatical from YouTube that wasn't published to our Vimeo channel. It was published a different one that has got 100,000 Vimeo, as a staff pick and things like that. And that was great. It was exciting. But that's the Vimeo audience. If it's YouTube, you need to say like, what is the YouTube world like to make?
And we're trying to accomplish 2 different things with kind of the same audience, if that makes sense. Like our YouTube video, people have very short attention spans because they're home from work, or they're at work, or they're at lunch, or they're just trying to share a video really quick. So they're going to go through videos until one catches their attention, which is why the 3 to 8 seconds applies in a YouTube video. We're not going to apply the 3 to 8 seconds necessarily like the narrative feature that we're pitching, because that's an hour and a half long or 2 hour long that somebody who likes sci-fi and likes action and likes comedy, so it's kind of like the same interest, is going to go to a movie theater for, or is going to go find it on Netflix, and they're going to settle in for the night. So it's like going to a different, it's like going to a museum versus, like flipping through your phone.
But so am I right in imagining that for your feature, then you would use your YouTube audience as someone to kind of like go out and buy tickets? Like, what's your primary distribution plan?
So
where would you like to see a feature as a primary viewing place?
As we've been going out, I've had people say, oh yeah, well, do you have such and such YouTubers attached? Like if you had like a YouTuber with 1 million subscribers attached to your project, you could probably find funding easier or more easily, right? And I'm just like, okay, well, I have friends who have those numbers. What does that mean? What are they going to do for you? Like, I don't quite understand. And there is a perception that just size means something, like that you have a huge subscriber base, let's just attach them to the project because they can reach that subscriber base. But our method, of course, is like, who are we? Stare yourself in the mirror for 3 hours and say, who am I? And once you've really figured out, like, what films do I want to make, then we're trying to capitalize on parallel like film topics. So if I want to make, and if you want to make, I don't know, what are you particularly interested in?
Drama, narrative.
Drama.
Yeah.
Okay, like drama, narrative, even more specific than that.
Like fiction drama.
Yeah. Well, let's say specifically like with drama narrative, you like a passion for us is like female-centric stories are also very interesting, right?
Relationships.
Yeah, or relationships. That's great. Okay, so relationships. Let's say if it's a relationship story, see what does well in the YouTube sphere for relationship-based things. Are you going to be looking at people who give dating advice, or are you going to be looking at people like, and could you make something that is parallel to something that's already existing, to a community that already exists, and then reach out to that community and bring them into a new community that then can relate to the content you want to create. And once that community is there, you can start to deviate, and you can start to make content that's more your voice and less about this audience that you usurped, that you brought into your whole thing.
Did we answer your
Oh,
question?
yeah.
The thumbnail,
Oh, thumbnails.
part was something I was interested in. If you could
Cute girls, little animals.
Bikinis.
Animals do
I'm more
well.
interested like from the graphic aspect.
But from a graphic, it's funny. So, for example, I'll get sick of that in a second. That bear one, my friend had a really good point. So this thumbnail we showed you, part of it is this thumbnail was okay. I had made a different one before, but the text was smaller. There wasn't a bear in it. But you need something that catches the eye. Text on your thumbnails does really well. You don't have to do it. One of our most viewed video doesn't have any text on it. It's just two people looking at each other. One of them's the alien from Predator, and the other one is Master Core. Well, a Halo Spartan. But those were our thumbnails. What you really want is you want something. Something, first of all, that's related to your content. I think there's so many different ways you can go, but I feel like having a big face of some sort, or something that people can relate to. People look at faces first, right, and text next. And so we try to include faces, text, and then something else that's action-oriented in the same thumbnail. So this is okay example. Let me something with the greatest thumbnail. Your text has to be bigger than you want it to be, maybe, because it's going to be shrunk down and shrunk down and shrunk down. You're going to see it on a cell phone, and if you still want it to be legible, it just has to be big or a very small thumbnail. So those might be some good ideas. If you look at our channel now, though, we need to redo half the thumbnails on there at this point.
We've probably redone almost all of the thumbnails at some point.
Yeah.
Just
You
because
guys, how long was that cycle of understanding whether this is working or not, in terms of duration, and going back and kind of changing it?
Yeah, we watch, right when we release a video, we watch our view counts, and we say how many views we're getting per hour, how much of this is happening, and then if it starts to go, plateau or slow, we sit there and say, okay, well, what can we fix? What can we make a little better? Let's change this word. Let's maybe change the thumbnail. And if we have text in the thumbnail, maybe we can change the text in the thumbnail. And there's room to iterate in there.
in general, though, we use really bright colors, and we have very recognizable characters, whether it's a bear or whether it's a face-off between the two gamer.
We also start with that in mind. Like I said, so when we start, if I can think of a good title, then we go with the idea. Or not just me, but you have to think of the title. The Halo versus Destiny was just a title before it was anything. And that happens.
Do you think a big part of it is the brand, that you were using the gaming brands, using them?
Absolutely. That's that audience.
That's very intentional. It's very intentional.
Here, that's one thing.
Gaming-based relationship.
So the bear tech is not based on the game.
Yeah.
And what else do we have that's not based on the game? Anything? Well,
Well-
I like the Jason boards as comic book characters, so those are very recognizable.
Star Wars. And I would say too, we were saying short form content. There are things that are just powerful enough to make something cool look good to you. There was a Metroid fan film that was made. I think it's 8 minutes long. It came out in the last couple of months, and it's incredibly well done. Lots of computer-generated creative graphics, and in fact,
Is that the one that's 15 minutes or something?
yeah,
Or
it's
11
long,
minutes.
it's 11 minutes, but it was.
We're like, how?
Yeah, but it has it was just done really well. It clearly was 8 months of work that his team probably worked on, but it did well. But it was reaching into a different pool and saying, I want to make something narrative, I want to make something interesting, and it was science fiction and all that. But then they capitalized on that audience and they created something. If it's original content, it's a lot more difficult, but there is stuff out there that you can just try to, I would honestly say, study and see what original content maybe relates to what you want to do.
Which is going to be easier once you have more of an audience.
once we have more in the numbers like 100,000 to 200,000 followers, like we can probably get away with making a lot more original content.
Yeah, and so that's, like we said at the end, that's kind of our goal.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, so do you catch any flack for using all these characters? Like after you have Darth Vader and you're making money off of the ad share or whatever the ad is like, isn't that?
It's under the parody.
Yeah, so if it falls under a parody category, then you get away with a lot. And YouTube went through all kinds of things, especially in the beginning, where people would come down and say, like, you can't use this character. We were scared to death that Fox was going to come after us for our Halo versus Predator character, because we're using Predator, and that's their character. They own that IP. How could this be? And our channel did get shut down for copyright, and that was like our thought. It was like, 20th century screwed us. But no, they had nothing to do with it. It was weird. It was a weird thing. And ultimately, there's kind of this one. It's not worth going after for a lot of big intellectual property. But if it can fall under a parody law, then you're generally doing okay.
That being said, we're really careful with the music that we use.
Music is another beast.
And music is like, there are people there, is anybody here familiar with Lindsay Sterling, the dancing violinist? So we went to college with her, and like we know her personally, him better than me, but she did really well. She did the kind of the same thing we did. She was playing Zelda at first and using characters that are not expected to be playing violin and dancing and using their music, but because she changed it enough, she was able to get away with it. Makes sense. So.
And YouTube gives, I guess, you a chance to sort of fight back, right? Like if they send you a copyright flag or whatever, you can write back.
I think it's like 3 strikes you're out type of thing.
Right. Don't want to mess with that.
But I've actually used Star Wars footage, like a clip from Star Wars, and basically just it with another voice. And they came back with, you can't do this, and there is parody. You're protected quite a bit under parody, I think, if you make your voice heard.
Yeah, there's nuances and things. Ultimately, everything to stay out of it. There's a lot of, like, for example, my buddy just said, his friend published a video talking about the writing behind Gone Girl. And he just took clips from Gone Girl and he talked about it and broke down the writing structure, how it relates to the book, and how the script was so brilliant, yada yada yada. And his video did really well. And he's just using clips from an existing property. And honestly, that kind of stuff scares me to death because I wouldn't want to pick the wrong movie and have people say, no, we don't let this happen, and then all of a sudden you got a strike against you on YouTube. That is a fairly big deal.
Well, there are also other channels who are actually using clips from other channels.
Yeah, and that could get into trouble. I mean, aside from internet haters, yeah, you can lose a lot. Ultimately, YouTube has the back of the people who make it money, and so there is a little bit of it's a dog-eat-dog YouTube world.
There's also a fine line between what you can publish and not run ads on. So we had a video for several years that was doing really well that we didn't make any money off of because we couldn't run ads on it. So, but we were allowed to keep the content up, which grew our subscriber base, which is very valuable. So there's that.
That's once we reached a certain viewership per month, we were able to talk to people on that.
Yeah,
So,
Does video have a higher video resolution than YouTube?
So in general, I know that Vimeo is pretty much optimized for 720, but they also do 1080 video. YouTube supports up to what they call 5K, anything above 4K.
Wow.
YouTube's a bigger engine. This is what I would say. Even though I get my inspiration from Vimeo, and I love the community of Vimeo, and probably spend more time watching Vimeo, I go to YouTube to build my audience, right?
And what would you say about the idea of putting the same project on YouTube?
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I don't know that they translate 100%. I feel like you can build a more professional portfolio on Vimeo and curate that a lot more specifically. YouTube can be a large body of work, and that's maybe a better place for it. but it goes with what you want to do with your career. If you want to gain an audience, if you want to gain a following and have your social media presence be part of it, be part of your package of when you pitch yourself to someone, then YouTube is an excellent place for it. Vimeo is a harder place to do that. But like Solomon Lighthelm, for example, I don't know if you guys know him. He did a Kickstarter. He was pretty much got a huge following on Vimeo. That's kind of one of the stars of Vimeo. And he did a Kickstarter, raised I think at least $60,000 or $80,000 to do a short film. And it was a great short film. Maybe this escaped me right now. But anyway, it's about an astronaut and it was symbolic of Christ's birth.
And we have videos on Vimeo that we don't have on YouTube because it's not the right audience, it's not the right material to put on YouTube. So like we did a short film that we submitted to, it was an online film festival for Showtime. It actually won several awards, but it has a total different look and feel than anything we put on YouTube. And so that's the type of thing we would hope to.
Probably more proud of it.
Yeah, and we are more proud of it. Like it's more artistic to us.
Have you done any crowdfunding for this project?
Yes, we did it. Worked hard. It didn't work. Totally didn't work. We wanted to. This is kind of funny.
We had a web series.
Yeah, we had a full web series we wanted to try, which we thought like, oh, this is great. We'd love to make consistent content, but we just need to get money for it. And so, great. We have 15,000 subscribers right now. Let's see if we can capitalize on that and see if we can help them to fund our Halo related web series. And we talked with the people, and we talked with Halo specific and said, we want to run a web series. What you do is will you help us push our Kickstarter out and all this sort of stuff, and it fell flat on its face. We totally tried to get started,
So there was no conversion from
Halo didn't help.
No, well, they put us on their forum and stuff like that and said, hey, check out this project if you want. And it didn't connect with people. And one of it might have been we really needed to hit crowdfunding a lot harder than we did, or the methodology to it. But at the same time, we didn't reach mass, and we asked for too much money.
What was your ask?
We were asking for about $20,000 or $40,000.
What should you do?
Probably we should have asked for $8,000 or $9,000.
How much did you get? How many?
We raised about $1,700 on the crowd. Yeah. So we should.
Therefore, it's so far from the target, it didn't get other people inspired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it was 1,700 towards 4,000.
Yeah. And people have been okay, let's do it.
I think if we were doing it now, we'd do it a lot differently, and we just kind of didn't know what we were doing. There's actually quite a bit of strategy behind crowdfunding.
Do you see a purpose for doing crowdfunding
for YouTube or for
anything?
That's really interesting because I think we need it. And it's really weird to say. I've seen a lot of people. I've worked on a lot of crowdfunding projects or made videos for them, things like that. And I've seen just those people who just shoot to the top. And then of course I've seen behind the curtain a couple people who shoot to the top, and they have a PR company running their whole thing, and all that, and a lot of companies that just are good at being able to create a crowdfunding campaign for you.
where they already have investors lining up.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not something that people can do. I have seen successful, I know a director who did fairly well on crowdfunding, but he already had a pretty established audience in a very niche community, not on YouTube. So, if we're talking film, so I think, there are ways to do it and there are ways not to do it. And we learned the way not to do it. So maybe don't ask our advice on ways to do it.
You found a different model. You found a sponsorship model, which is great. I just think it would be so interesting to see if they could convert. When you try.
So I had thought this morning when I log up to Kickstarter, I like funding people's projects, and maybe it's because I watched mine not get funded. But I logged this morning, was like, how can I just keep that project down? But Kickstarter doesn't do that, I guess.
Oh, that's interesting.
But now we have a brand that is a little bit more reputable. we have a bigger following. I was like, in the future, if we did do some kind of smaller based project, it's like, hey, we want to make, you know, a fan film based off of this 1980s, you know, whatever comic book.
Do you want to touch on
last
Patreon?
month when we did the meetup here on crowdfunding, and
Yeah.
I think we called it the top 3 mistakes, and one of them was putting too high.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm worried though, if people click through on our crowdfunding, they're like, let's look at other projects. I'm like, oh, maybe we shouldn't go with this. But I don't know. Maybe.
Conventionally, I've also heard from tech people that if your goal is too low, people might not be interested in the project.
Yeah, you gotta find that sweet spot.
Yeah, so fun.
And there's people who say that within the first 2 days, if you get a huge push, then there's buzz and there's, you know, people want to donate more because it's like, oh, you got to get in on it, you know.
Didn't YouTube
Yeah, we have that as well. I think a model we're trying to build too is, I believe in Patreon, type of building a community of people who want to have some sort of premium, you know, membership to whatever it is. So we have freakinrad.club now, which is just directs to our Patreon page, but we give out special deals to people who subscribe. Every time we launch a video, we give them digital backgrounds and the song for free, and you know, we want to higher level subscribe, you know, to people. They'll get gear and they'll get cool stuff. And so we're still building that out. We have like, we make $35 a video now from our 2 Patreon subscribers.
But that's huge potential, and that's something that we'll be building out more in the future. And I think as our brand grows and we have merchandise, or we start having a larger presence at places like Comic-Con or things like that, where we have a guy who builds costumes, and honestly, like if we could, you know, kind of tap into that a little bit, and he could come up with an original. He does a lot of original work. We can sell those. I mean, so there's a lot of potential there. It's just kind of hasn't. The filmmaking's been the focus for so long that it's kind of down the road a little bit.
Do you guys?
I was going to say it's...
Yeah, wrap it up.
But I'm so glad that you came and spoke to us, because you can all say we met them when.
If you guys have questions, like please email us or talk to us afterwards.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was awesome. And I should... So I wanted to be posted. Most of you know me. My name is Joanne Butcher, and I put these things together. I so love it when we have guests. And my whole point is to build a filmmaking community, and to have people come. Actually, some friends of mine wanted to come this evening. They won't be able to come until next month, who are composers, you know, and I said, and they don't understand anything about the film world, but they really want to be composing for film. And I said, you know, you have no idea how hard it is for filmmakers to be getting original music for their projects. So come and team up with some filmmakers, so they'll be here next month. But you know, ideally, you will find people that you can be working with here, and every month learn more about each other and what you do, what you want to do. And I love that you are working with your YouTube channel and steering that towards these feature films. So and I hope we get to keep you here instead of back in Utah. I'm sure it's wonderful. It's fun to have you here. And I was saying before, you know, I used to work for YouTube, and was seeing it from a particular perspective, and everything that you brought to the table is fantastic. I have a very close friend, and her husband works for, he's a writer for Smosh, which is sort of today is the number 5 YouTube channel with all these millions of subscribers. And it's really interesting. I loved hearing, you know, you talking about this, you know, it's a business. You know, it's a business, you have a team, you have people working on social media, you have people, you know, and now they are posting videos more frequently. But the things I wanted to say for people to sort of start out with is that, you know, YouTube has millions of videos being uploaded every day. And one of the things that I think that you said so beautifully is this thing about consistency. You know, it doesn't mean that you need to post every day. It doesn't mean to say that you need to post every week, but just to have some sort of consistency. But even before that, something you mentioned early on was about the name. And I was in Trinidad, I'm not Trinidad, I was in Trinidad recently, and I was shooting video of this band, and he said, oh, we're going to put this up on YouTube. I said, what are you going to put it up under? And the lead singer's name was, John Smith or something. And he said, I have a YouTube channel, it's John Smith. And I said, well, how is anyone going to find a video? And he hadn't sort of considered the idea that people know the name of the band, but don't know the name of John Smith. And it sounds like such a simple thing, but it's like the beginning, it's the foundation. So the foundation is you need to decide what the name of your channel is. There is a process you can go through where you can change it, but you need to decide what the name of your channel is. And all of your marketing is going to go behind that. So in the case of the band, it needed to be the name of the band. He could post it on his personal channel as well. He could be doing other things. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're making one project and calling it one thing, and then you have another project that needs to be something else. So I can see why Japanese videos wouldn't actually work on Freakin Rad, but so that's the first step. It's like, what's it called? And then, there are, again, since I worked at YouTube, I really don't use Google to figure things out very much anymore. I use YouTube. So YouTube, one of the biggest things that they have on YouTube is how-to videos. And I thought it was really fun. We had how to start bear attacks. And so that brings together all of the YouTube stuff. So, and recently, one of the people who she had done a video pitch for a pitch competition for making movies. And the pitch wasn't very good at all. But when she spoke about herself and her work as a coach, it was awesome, And I realized that she could absolutely be getting herself known as a coach using YouTube. So that's a very, very common thing. But one of the things that I heard when you were talking was this whole issue of, what is my niche? So when that's sort of what you asked about, well, Boston asked you, what kind of work you like, and you said drama. So that's not a niche, that's like a category, right? So you have to narrow it down. And I think that what's going to work on any platform is when you can really, I love the thing you said about look at yourself in the mirror for 3 hours and figure out, who am I, so that what's really coming across is you, because it doesn't matter how much there is out there, it doesn't matter how much is up, the millions of videos going on YouTube, there's not going to be anything else that's about someone. There's not going to be any other video that's you if you can really get to the core of who you are. What does that mean? The core of who you are might mean sci-fi, it might mean comedy, it might mean something about women's empowerment, it might, whatever that thing is, but it's something very specific. And I think that most of, if you just sort of randomly look at YouTube, you'll find that things are just not specific and they're not interesting because of that. And that's true in any platform. It has to be something that is individual, and that's what's going to get across to people. And so the how-to, I literally, what was it? I bought this machine the other day. I was in a mission on 24th Street, and somebody was selling some things, and he had this coffee machine thing, and I love espresso and that. So I bought this Nespresso coffee machine, and it didn't have the box, and it, you know, charged $300. And I go, the first thing I did was I go on YouTube, and I YouTubed, we don't say YouTube, Google things, but I YouTubed how to use this machine, and it turns out that it cost $399. I was like, oh my God, I fell off the back of a lorry. That's an English expression. What do you say in America?
Off the back of the truck.
Meaning it was stolen or something, right?
Yeah.
It was hot. Anyway, I got it for $30. And so, you know, I now know how to use my Nespresso machine because, you know.
How to buy fenced goods.
And what?
How to buy fenced goods.
Yes, I've joined the criminal underground. So if there is something that you can teach, then that's a really great thing, you know, to start with. And this back to this idea of consistency. If you can be putting something up on a regular basis, then one of the things I think is that people think that YouTube, the way people make money is by, you know, hooking your channel up with AdSense and people are going to come to you that way. And that's just not the way, not the way to be making money. This was great to hear about these different business models, but sponsorship is a way that you can be making money. But I think also, you know, for filmmakers, really it's the process of the filmmaking that's important. So the process of making something and putting it up and letting people see it. You know, I love what you said about the 10 subscribers, you know. Be making something. I remember a couple of months ago when Renny Producers Rep was here, and we got into an argument. We got into fisticuffs because I was saying that I think it was Dennis actually who asked a question about script writing, and I was talking about getting, you know, sending in competing in the Sundance Writers Lab. And Ben said, no, you know, what you want to be doing is making films and getting them out there on a local level and being part of the film community. And I totally agree with him, really. We weren't really writing, but, you know, I think there are two ways of looking at things. One is that you can, if you're going to be making work, then why not be putting your work, getting your work to a level of excellence and finding out that you can highest level. Why not pitch to the Nokia pitch, you know? Why not go for those things? And then being part of a local filmmaking community is another thing, you know? So make your films, get them seen, build a community, work with people, find out people that you enjoy working with, and you know, just be doing it. Just keep doing it. But don't think that I'm going to, you know, make films and put them up on YouTube and they're going to go viral. I almost think the phrase "going viral" should be banned because, and I think I've shared this story before. My spiritual home in Florida, I was very surprised that they started a crowdfunding campaign and didn't ask me to do it because I've done a fundraising for them. And they said, oh, well, you know, there's a specialist who works in crowdfunding. And I was like, well, you know, I don't do crowdfunding. And they said, yes, but he told us that, you know, we could make all this money. And I was like, And so what they were doing was they were renovating a kitchen at the ashram. They renovated this big kitchen and it was old. And they needed $75,000 to do this quick kitchen renovation. And he told them, what you're going to do is you're going to make a video about the kitchen renovation and it's going to go viral. And they believed it. And why not? You know, because if somebody tells you they're a professional and this is what they do, but I mean, obviously you all realize there is no way that any video about remodeling a kitchen is
Unless there's a beer. Unless there's a beer.
So they had launched this campaign for $75,000. We were already talking about, you know, numbers being high and everything. They had a community fundraising. So, but really, the truth was, I would have said that 25,000 was a cap for them, because that's what they were used to making for a certain fundraising thing. So 75%. And I think they had made about 3 or 4 at that time. Luckily, it was on Indiegogo, so you don't lose it, you don't make the thing. So we started working on the way to run a crowdfunding campaign and to use the traditional fundraising tools that you need to use to make money. And I think we made about $25,000. And they got to do a lot of the work on the kitchen. But I just thought that it's really unconscionable the way that people use the phrase going viral, you know, because it's just not really. I do think that you have done a fantastic job in really being able to tune in to what YouTube is and what it's looking for, to really understand the way that YouTube works, but still, I don't know these simple routines. This one's going to go well.
We don't use that term very often. We don't really like it.
As opposed to YouTube, because YouTube is not, in terms of getting it seen, is not necessarily the way to go. You might want to be building community by doing something differently. I was just thinking about somebody who knows doing film, she's writing a book, but she's going to start publishing pieces of it on Craigslist. And I was like, well, why? You know, what are you going to get from that? You know, and she said, well, I want to get feedback. Well, if you want feedback, that's a different thing. That's a different place to be working. You know. So just these basics. So having the name of your channel, deciding exactly who you are and what you want to be saying, and making consistent work, and also just sort of knowing what it is that you want to be doing with your audience. You know, this is the question between different platforms, monetization, being part of a local film festival, what is it, you know, is it that you want your work to be seen so that you get jobs? You know, what is actually the goal of making something and putting it up on a place like YouTube? What really is that goal? Once we take off the table the idea of going viral, then what is really your goal? You know, the goal might be that I want to be, I have a message that I want to get across. The goal might be that I want to be working. I want to find other people who I want to work with. So what exactly is your goal? And I know that a number of you here, I know most of you, what your goals are, what you're working on. And so if you're working on feature films, then YouTube might not be the place, but it might be a place that you could get to show off something that you've written if you get to work with people, but it might not be the right place for you. And I think that's really very, very good the way that you're talking about YouTube. It's so, there's such a flavor and such a feel. And I think that's true of anything. It's like for a writer, you know, writers sending off articles to magazines and not really knowing the magazine. You know, it's just not going to work. You know, you've just got to know that particular flavor. You know, I talked about that all the time when we went to Sundance. You know, Sundance is the premier place in some ways for some movies, but it's very specific. You know, and it has a specific flavor of Sundance that is absolutely not the same as Toronto, or it's absolutely not the same as another film festival. And so whatever you're doing, when you decide, this is who I am, this is what I want to do with my work, this is where I want to this is the way I want to be interacting with an audience, then you can select what your platform is. And YouTube may very well not be the place, at all, for any reason, and it might be, but I really, I think that YouTube is when Google really took over YouTube, things changed. There was a shift, and it's going to continue to shift. And what's interesting is that Google is as interested in making money as filmmakers are in making money. So what happens, I think, and where you are at some sort of tipping point, is that Google wants to find places that they can make money, that they can drive ad revenue and so on. So there has to be, if you want to go in this direction, you have to get to a certain point where they're going to start pushing ads to your site. And before that point, then there isn't going to be any business. So you have to do that original build out of your business before Google is going to come. But they are actively looking for places that they can make money. And it's just very clear that that's what it's about. It was more of a, sort of pioneer place for a while, but it's definitely a business place now, and that's what it's for. And I think that the concept of a curator is a very important thing too. And I got to be a curator, and there are lots of ways that curating, I think, is something that's a very 21st century phenomenon. When I'm saying about, a friend putting on, working on Google Maps for Brazil, there's this specificity, and curating is a very much a 21st century job. That used to be that there were specialists who were curators, and now curating is something that we're all doing all the time. And this concept of finding the coolest thing and then sending it to people and all that. But curating is, I don't think I have very much to say about it. It's just something that it's a word that you just see more and more and more and more. And it's not about necessarily being a specialist in 15th century Italian religious art, but it is always that sort of that niche and that specialization. What was the example that you gave of the veggie? What you said?
I just made it up.
What was it?
Vegetable
origami. Yeah, vegetable origami.
Which, if anybody takes off with it.
Yeah, it was your idea. Somebody's probably doing it. Yeah.
Veggie-gami.
Perfect. You can have it with that.
That whole concept of the niche, but being curators are what you find to be amazing, and don't worry about who else is going to find it amazing, but it's what you find it amazing. And now we live in a global universe which exists right there in one channel on YouTube, and you can reach people with your unique vision. I think that's what I was trying to say, about the uniqueness of the world.
And you can do it for free, which is the appeal of YouTube. It's artist to audience for free.
And don't think that you just put something up there and then people see it. That's actually the same thing as I would say with crowdfunding. People think, oh, I'm just going to put it there and then people are going to see it. No, it's work. And you click and you're there. One person at a time is, really essential. So I'm just going to close, and then hopefully we can hang out and have some, I'll try and heat up the tea. So I am a coach. I work with filmmakers to create critically successful films that make money and change the world. And so I'm already working with some of you and others of you I would love to be working with. I have a little sign-up sheet there. So So what I do is, I do something I call a filmmaker success breakthrough session, and we take an hour on the phone and we talk, and we get to look at what it is that you want to do, and I get to try to get you to sign up for my program. And I have somebody who will not do the session with me because she keeps saying, I don't have any money, I don't have any money, I don't have any money. And I'm like, why not? You know, why not do it? It's really, it's ever such a fun thing for me, and it's an awesome thing for you. So please sign up and join me in a filmmaker success breakthrough session. It's just on the phone, and we'll look at what it is that your goals are and where you want to go in that filmmaking career or whatever it is that you want to do with film. And I'm really thrilled that you all came and let's hang out.